Welcome to Yogaroo Online. In this practice, we're going to focus on inversions, and we're going to look at inversions, very accessible inversions. So we're not going into any of the big poses like handstands, headstands, and shoulder stands. We're going to look for the inversions throughout our practice that are naturally there, that you may not have realized that through your regular practice, you are coming into inversions. So the benefits of inversions are obviously great for the circulation, really energizing, because basically what qualifies something as an inversion is where the heart is above the head. So great energizing, get extra blood flow and oxygen to the brain. So really good for the energy levels, really good for the gut as well. So just, in fact, good for all the systems of the body, because we're kind of like, I think of the circulatory system being the housekeeping of the body. And when we are working with the circulation, we are kind of, keeping everything. We're distributing oxygen, we're distributing nutrition, and we're removing waste. So great for all round health. So I think we'll get started now, and as usual, we'll go through our cat-cows. So we'll pause through some of our inversions, and as I mentioned already, the inversions are hidden amongst our practice. So I'll kind of highlight them for you, and we'll pause for one or two breaths, and you'll feel the sensation of possibly that little bit of pressure where the blood is gathering in the brain, and then we come out of it and we kind of start to feel kind of how this is energizing. Okay, so starting in all fours. And as usual, we're going to inhale, the belly softens down towards the ground. And then exhale, we lift the spine up towards the ceiling. We'll do 2 more rounds of that. Inhale, belly softens towards the ground. And exhale, lifts the spine up towards the ceiling. Maybe for the last one, we'll use our hands in it a little bit more. So inhale, the belly softens down towards the ground. Spread those fingers wide and press into your hands and draw your hands towards your knees here. They don't move, you're just kind of clawing them up towards your knees. And then as you exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling, press into your hands and press them away from your knees there. Feel your shoulder blades spread across your back. Okay, we're just going to change it around a little bit. So we're going to inhale, belly softens down towards the ground. And then exhale, you're going to press your hips back towards the back of your heels there. Okay, just simply adding a different pose as our second one. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground. And then exhale, press those hips back towards the heels. Again, just remembering it's the very start of your practice, so don't have any high expectations of your mobility at this stage. So inhale, belly softens, and then exhale, presses your hips back towards your heels. Okay, into our first inversion. So puppy dog, walk your hands forward to the top of your mat there, far enough so that you can slowly start to bring your shoulders and your head down towards the mat. Now, if your head doesn't comfortably come to the mat, grab one of your blocks and use that to bring your forehead onto. Just have yourself in a position where your head can reach something, so it's not just hovering. Okay, so here we are in our first inversion. So the heart is ever so slightly above the head there. And let's feel this, the blood flow to the head, the little inversion, and just helping out all those little blood vessels with their job. And press into your hands there, and we'll just come into a side stretch inversion. So walk your hands off the right side of your mat there and bring your forehead down again. And if you've moved away from your brick and you need a prop, you can just easily just place your forehead on your top left upper arm there. Just have your head on something, or at the top right arm, just whatever suits your neck there, if your head doesn't comfortably come down towards the ground. Press into your hands again. We're just going to travel over to the other side, just enough to lift you to bring you to the other side. So bring those hands off the left side of your mat now. Bring the forehead down to either the floor or your left or right upper arm. Just depends what feels good for your neck. And take a deep breath here into the right side of the right lungs there, the right side body. Press into your hands, come back up to center again. And we're going to just do a few little rounds of child's pose flow again to get circulation going. Inhale here, exhale, lifts the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground, and then exhale, presses us back to child's pose. Okay, so that's our little flow. We'll do it 2 more times. Inhale up to all fours, nice and strong in your stance here. Exhale, press into your hands and knees, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground, and then exhale, press those hips back towards the back of the heels there. Last time, inhale up to all fours. Exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground, and then exhale, press those hips back towards your heels. Okay, back up to all floors again. We're going to do a little flow that we're going to embed at the start of each of our standing flows because it's got an inversion into it. So we're kind of coming in and out of downward dog. So you're probably all familiar with downward dog. This is the pose, but what we're doing is we're actually not holding it. We're just going to come in and out of it. And I've built it into that little child's pose flow style thing. We're replacing child's pose with downward dog. But don't worry, I will guide you through it each time we come into it. So inhale here, exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground, and then exhale this time, tuck those toes under, lift the hips up and back and press your hips up and back. Find your way into downward dog. Let the head hang here now. Let the blood flow to the head. Back down to the ground again. We'll do that 3 times. Inhale here. In fact, you could keep the toes tucked under. It might make it easier to come up into your downward dog. Or if that's uncomfortable for your feet, untuck them for this bit. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens towards the ground. And then exhale, lift the hips up and back into our downward dog. Let the head hang, soften the shoulders. And then inhale, back to all fours again. Exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens towards the ground. And exhale, last time, lift the hips up and back into our downward dog. So same as the child's pose flow, except we're just replacing child's pose with downward dog. Okay, so inhale here to all fours again. Exhale, press back to child's pose. Inhale, back up to all fours. And exhale, step that right foot just to the inside of the right hand there. So make sure that they are tracking with their hips there. Press into your feet to come up, hands to the hips there. So we're doing a little bit of work on waking up the hamstrings a little bit and the hips so that we can come into our forward flexion a little bit more easily. So this is our inhale here. And then exhale, you're just going to come forward. So just let the hips drift forward towards that front foot there. So inhale, come up. And then exhale, let the hips come forward. So you're just seesawing your hips back and forward on your mat there. So your inhale is where you're pressing the hips back. Maybe feel a little bit of opening through the front of that back, the left hip there. And then exhale comes forward. And press into the feet there now. Continue flowing with your breath there. Your inhale comes up, your exhale brings you down. Press into that front foot there and feel into the contact with the ground, those points of contact, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the center of the back of the heel. And really feel the texture of the mat underneath you. And use that as kind of information to feel the muscles waking up. So notice the more you press into the ground there, the more you feel the leg waking up, and the more the leg wakes up, the more it smooths your movement forward and back because the muscles are active. And once the muscles are active, they're working as brakes as you come forward. So they're your brakes, and then they're powering you to push back. So press more into the ground than you kind of need to for something as simple as this movement, just to get that sensation of the legs working. Okay, and then we're just going to swap over to the other side. We'll come through our downward dog flow first. So you've stepped that right leg back there. You're coming to all fours. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground. And exhale, lift the hips up and back and find your way into downward dog. Inhale back to all fours and exhale to child's pose. Inhale up to all fours. And exhale, step that left leg forward just to the inside of the left hand, remembering we're on our train tracks here, our hips are in line. And bring yourself up to your half kneeling position here, so low lunge. Now don't forget, if this knee is bothering you, you double your mat over, so you do that with your mat, or pop one of your blankets underneath it. So make sure that that right knee isn't bothering you. Hands to the hips there. And same thing, we're just going to fluidly move the hips forward and back, like we're seesawing the hips forward and back. Keep the spine nice and tall here, particularly as you come forward. Don't let the shoulders roll forward. Nice and tall through the spine. Now, remembering that journey that we went through the right leg, let's do the same thing on the left leg. So keep moving with your breath. You're exhaling as you come forward, you're inhaling as you come back. As you come back, maybe squeeze the back of that right buttocks muscle there. That will help to open the front of that right hip. And then coming forward, press into the ground, those 3 points of contact with the ground, making sure that you're really feeling the muscles of the legs there. And move really slowly. And notice the slower that you move, the more muscle activity it takes. It's actually harder to move slow in something as simple as this than it is to just kind of swing the hips forward and back. So see how slow you can move and how you can really access the feelings of the muscles of the legs there. Okay, and then hands either side of that front foot, step that left leg back, and then coming just to all fours, we'll do our downward dog flow again. So inhale here, exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens towards the ground, and exhale, lifts the hips up and back into your downward dog. Inhale to all fours again, and exhale presses you back to child's pose. Inhale up to all fours, and then exhale, step the right leg just to the inside of the right hand now. Now we're coming up to standing, so it's even more important now that those feet are nice and wide left to right on your mat for balance. Tuck the left toes under there. Press right hand into right knee, lift that left knee, and bring yourself up to standing. So we're going to do something similar again. Bring the hands to the hips here and straighten out through that back leg. Squeeze that back muscle there, back gluteus maximus there, just to make sure that it's opening the front of the hips there. So this is our inhale, and then our exhale, we're just going to straighten that front leg and tilt forward any amount. And now, if you're like me, you will hit your hamstring pretty soon. So just, go to the point where you start to feel sensation of lengthening in the back of that right hip there. Keep the spine nice and tall now. So don't be tempted to roll forward, feeling that you are coming forward more. Again, you can keep a little micro bend in that right knee there if you're hitting the hamstring just way too early and you're not getting any forward tilt. But the idea, I suppose, is not necessarily to keep it too bent, because we want to get into that hamstring there. Okay, so inhale, the knee is bent, and then exhale really slowly again, that same principle of pressing into that front foot, waking up the attachment of the top of that hamstring there to keep it safe, and tilting the whole pelvic unit and the spine forward any amount. One more time, inhale, bend that knee deeply, and then exhale, straighten the leg any amount and start to tilt over it. And then bend again. Bring the left knee down towards the ground, step that right leg back, and we'll do our little flow again between sides. So inhale here, exhale, lifts the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly softens down towards the ground, and exhale, lifts the spine up or the hips up and back to downward dog. Feel the breath now. Feel the blood flow to the head. Inhale, back to all fours again, and exhale, press you back to child's pose. Inhale up to all fours again, and then exhale, you're going to step that left foot just to the inside of the left hand there now. Tuck the right toes under, left hand to left knee, press into it to help lift that right knee and come up to standing. Okay, so my left leg is bent now, my right leg is straight, I've got my hands on my hips there, and that's going to give me the feedback of whether my pelvis is tilting forward or not. And we're going to inhale here, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, start to straighten that left leg any amount. Now you can keep a micro bend if you need to, and feel the pelvis tilting forward there. So feel those hip bones reaching forward. Inhale, front knee bends again, and we come into our lunge, and then exhale, straightens that front leg, back leg stays straight, and we tilt over that front leg, feeling the back of the hamstrings waking up. Press into the ground there, keep that attachment well attached. Last time, inhale, the left knee bends, and then exhale, straightens the leg, tilting that whole pelvic unit and the nice neutral spine. We don't want any curves in the back there, or forward tilting curves. And then back to a bent front knee again. This time we're going to place both hands on our left knee and step our right leg forward and fold down. Inhale, press into your feet, reach the arms up high, and exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. Okay, so we're going to come into another inversion here, this kind of half sun salutation. So inhale, reach the arms up high. Exhale, folding down, press the hands together now, a little bend in the knees if you need it. So here's our forward fold. Let's take 1 or 2 breaths here. Now have a good bend in your knees if that helps you to tilt the pelvis forward. And certainly if you've got tight hamstrings or any sort of issues at the back of your hips there, I have tightness at the back of my hips. It helps me if I bend my knees forward. Play around with the distance of your feet on the mat as well. So there's loads of different muscles here that might be tight, like the inner groin, the outer hips, back of the hips, that, you know, the upper back even, that might be preventing your pelvis from smoothly tipping forward. So sometimes for me, I find it easier to come into my forward fold if my feet are, say, mat distance apart. So play around with that and see, can you find ways to kind of bypass some of those muscles that might be a little bit tighter for you, so that you can literally just get to our intention for the class, which is getting our heart above our head and feeling the benefits of the inversion. So a little bend in the knees, tilt the pelvis forward, let the spine just roll down there. As long as your pelvis is tilting forward and it hasn't gone into a backwards rotation, don't worry about the upper spine rolling forward now for this one. Okay, so if you've brought your feet wider than hip distance apart, bringing the back to hip distance. Again, we'll come through our half forward fold. So inhale, coming up halfway, hands to the knees, reach the chest forward. Feel the strength through the upper back here now, and then exhale, folding down, press into those feet again, but particularly at the back of the heels there. That again will keep the attachment to the back of the hamstring safe there. A little bit of kind of contraction as it lengthens, and exhale, folding down. 2 more times. Inhale, coming up halfway, and then exhale, folding down. Last time, inhale, coming up halfway, press the hands to the knees, reach the chest up and forward, and exhale, folding down. Okay, we need an inhale to move on. So inhale, coming up, halfway, press hands to knees, and then exhale, step that left leg back, reach the arms back, and we'll find our way into arrowhead. So remembering feet nice and wide on the mat there. Actually, no, we're coming to the side of the mat, so don't worry about that. So you're going to ground your left foot now, and then keep that front knee bent, and then open the hips out to the side of your mat there. We're going to do a little bit of a flow through the upper body. So we're going to inhale into reverse. So sweep the left arm past your body to the right side and the right arm up and overhead. And then exhale, we're going to reverse it. We're going to sweep our right arm to the back of the mat and the left arm up and overhead. Okay, so that's our flow. We inhale, right arm reaches over, left arm reaches forward, and exhale, right arm reaches back, left arm reaches over. And we'll do that 1 more time. Inhale and exhale. Okay, and then both hands interlaced behind your back there. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, we're going to hinge forward just to the inside of that right leg there now. So once you've found your hinge through the hips there, then just let the whole upper spine roll forward until we feel that little bit of extra circulation in the head there. So feel the inversion happening. Might help you to reach those arms overhead. I have quite open shoulders there. It might help you to bend the elbows or have them straight. See what suits your shoulders today. And just feel the lovely little bit of blood flow to the head there. Let's take 1 more deep breath here. And inhale to come up, reach the arms up high, pivot the feet around to the front of the mat now. And exhale, we're just going to place that right hand on the right knee and step the left leg forward, folding down. Inhale, press into your feet, reach the arms up high. And And exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. Okay, let's go again. You're going to stay where you are. I'm going to go to the back of my mat so I don't have my back to you. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And then exhale, folding down. This is our one where we take a few breaths. So decide whether, if it helped you last time, bring the feet mat distance apart and come into your forward fold. A little bend in your knees if you need it, only if you need it. And you know, definitely I do, but not everyone has tension at the back of their hamstrings there. You might have a lovely forward fold. Okay, taking 3 deep breaths here, breathing for 3. Breathing for 2. And 1 more breath. Bring the feet back to hip distance if you had them wider there. And we'll do our half forward fold. So inhale, coming up halfway, hands to knees, reach the chest forward. Little bit of a chance for the whole muscles of the back body to wake up there and contract. And exhale, folding down. Inhale, coming up halfway again. Press the hands into the knees. The more you press your hands in, it's like they're glued to the knees. And then you resist it by reaching the chest up and back. And then exhale to come down. Last time, hands to the knees, shoulders roll up and back, shoulder blades coming together on your back. And exhale, folding down. Inhale to come up again, press hands to knees. And exhale, this time you're going to step your right leg back so the left leg stays where it is. We're coming into our arrowhead. And then we're going to inhale, we're going to ground that right foot down now. We're going to come into our flow on the second side. So this one where we come into the arms sweeping. So this time we're going to reach the right arm overhead and the left arm sweeps to the top of your mat. Or sorry, left arm overhead and right arm sweeps to the back of your mat. And then reverse it. So right arm sweeps to the front of your mat, left arm sweeps to the back of your mat. Okay, so when the left arm is reaching overhead, that's your inhale. When the right arm is reaching over your head, that's your exhale. Okay, and let's just sweep through that a few times and get a nice little bit of flow going. And last time, inhale and exhale. And then inhale, lengthen through the spine. Let's interlace the hands behind your back. Reach your hands down towards the floor in between your legs there, lengthen through the spine. This is your big inhale here. And then exhale, hinge forward just to the inside of that left leg there now. So hinge, hinge, hinge through the hips. So have your full attention on the hinging of the hips first, and then just let the spine roll down towards the ground. So as long as we get the hinge first, it's okay to flex the spine forward. And let's get our inversion here again. You can have the elbows bent or straight, just whatever suits your shoulders. Just see, can you reach those arms up overhead? Just helps you to hinge forward a little bit more. It's kind of like just adding the weight of the arms to the body, a little bit of work for additional help for the gravity. Feel the blood coming to the head there now. Circulation working. And then inhale to come up, pivot your feet around to the front of your mat now, reach the arms up high. And then exhale, place right hand or both hands to the left knee and step that right leg forward. Okay, so let's go again. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up high. And exhale, forward fold. We're not going to stay in our forward fold, but we will go through our 3 rounds of coming up halfway. So inhale, come up halfway, reach the chest forward, and exhale, forward fold. So the feet are hip distance apart for this one. Inhale, coming up halfway again, and exhale, folding down. Last time, inhale, coming up halfway, and exhale, folding. Inhale to come up so we can move on, and then exhale, stepping that left leg back, arms reach back, finding your way into arrowhead. Now we're going to come through one of my favorite transitions. Now we're going to inhale, reach the arms up high here. And then on our exhale, you're going to pivot that back foot around and open the hips to the side of your mat, bend both knees, feet are at kind of a 45-degree angle, and then this will be our exhale. Okay, so it's kind of, you need to come up high on your back foot there to pivot the feet around. So the inhale is I've pivoted my whole hip around to the front of the mat now. I'm on the ball of the back foot. My front leg is bent. My arms are reaching high. This is my inhale. And then my exhale, it kind of helps to kind of keep the hip as high as you can and up on the ball of that back foot as you kind of, rotate your whole hip open to the side. Bring the hands down the midline into our goddess for our exhale. And we'll do one more of them. So inhale, pivot around to the front of your mat, arms reaching. And then exhale, pivot around to the side of your mat, feet at the 45 degrees and hands down the midline. Keep the spine nice and tall here. Okay, so we're going to inhale, reach the arms up high. And then exhale, bring your hands down onto just the insides of your knees there. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder work again and coming into before we come into an inversion. So inhale up to center. And exhale, I'm going to mirror you. You're going to drop your right shoulder down towards your left knee and let the head come down and follow it. Inhale up to center and exhale, left shoulder to left knee. Inhale up to center and exhale, right shoulder to right knee. Inhale up to center and exhale, left shoulder to left knee or to right knee. Inhale up to center again, and then exhale, lengthen through the spine, tilt the pelvis forward, 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 press into your knees there. And when it has finished its forward rotation, then bring your hands down to the ground, or if they're not comfortably coming down to the ground, you can keep them on the insides of your legs and let the head hang down here. No prizes for guessing. We're in another one of our inversions. Okay, so strong one for the legs here. So all the blood pumping around the body. And really feel the blood coming into the head there. If this is too much on the legs, you can maybe straighten them a little bit. A bent knees uses a lot of energy to keep those legs holding you up there. So straighten the legs if bent knees is getting a little bit too much. And press into your feet to come up. Nice and slowly now, straighten the legs. Pivot the feet to the front of your mat there, both hands to that right knee. Pivot onto the ball of the left foot. Step that left foot forward, folding down. Inhale, press into your feet. Reach the arms up high. And exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. Okay, you stay where you are. I'm going to come to the back of my mat now. We're going to do the same flow on the second side. So inhale, reach the arms up high. And exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. We'll do our 3 rounds of half forward fold. So inhale, coming up halfway, reach the chest forward. And exhale, folding down. Inhale, coming up halfway again, reach the chest forward. Feel the back of the spine working here. And exhale, folding down. Last round. Inhale, coming up halfway. And exhale, folding down. Inhale to come up so we can move on. Place both hands on the left knee here now and step the right leg back, reach the arms back, find our way into arrowhead, open the chest here. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And then our same flow here, the exhale will be where, see, I've come up really high on that back foot so that I can pivot on the ball of it, bring the feet to that 45 degrees, bend both knees and come into my goddess pose. And then I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to straighten both legs. I'm going to come up on the ball of that right foot again, pivot around to the front of my mat, reach the arms up and find my way into high lunge. So let's go through that 3 times. So inhale here and then exhale to pivot and bring the hips down. Inhale, reach the arms up, pivot to the front and bend that front knee. Exhale to the side, hips are heavy. One more time, we'll inhale to the front, arms up high into our high lunge. Feel that front hip waking up there. And then exhale to the side of the mat, feet at that 45 degrees. Keep the knees bent, inhale, reach the arms up high, nice tall spine here. And exhale, hands to the insides of the knees there. And we're going to do our little tilts from side to side. So inhale to lengthen the spine. Always good to take a breath to reset the spine. And then exhale, you're going to bring your left shoulder down to your right knee. Inhale back to center. So I'm mirroring you here. And exhale, right shoulder to left knee. Inhale up to center. Exhale, left shoulder, right knee. Inhale up to center. Right shoulder, left knee. We'll do it one more time. Inhale to center. Exhale. Inhale to center. And exhale to fold. Inhale to center one more time, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, tilt the pelvis, 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 and then bring the hands down. Let the head hang here. Press into your feet. Decide, do you need to straighten those legs a little bit if they're fatiguing? And just let everything hang down. Feel the strength of your legs and feel the difference between the bottom half of your body and the top half of your body. So the bottom half is strong, it's holding you up. The top half of your body is draping forward, coming into its inversion. One more breath here. And inhale to come up. Nice and slowly now, when you come out of an inversion, pivot your feet around to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up high. And exhale, hands on the front knee, step that right leg forward now, folding down. Inhale, press into your feet, reach the arms up high, and exhale, hands down the midline in prayer position. Okay, so we're ready to move on to now the restorative part of our practice, where we'll take some restorative inversions. So get your props ready now. Hopefully you've got 4 blankets, 2 bricks, and a bolster, or whatever versions of homemade props you have to kind of simulate what we have there. So let's come down to the ground through a few little rounds of our forward fold and half forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms up high, and exhale, folding down. Inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale, folding down. Inhale to come up halfway, and exhale, folding down. And last time, inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale, folding down, and let's take 3 breaths here now. Last chance to get a really deep inversion. Feel that blood flow through the head. Use your breath now to help you circulate through that blood flow. Okay, and then when you're ready, gently bring fingertips to the ground and bring that right leg back. Come to the knee, left leg back, and come to the knee. Swing your feet around, and we're just going to come onto our back now. And before we do our first inversion, our first restorative inversion, we'll just do a few rounds of coming in and out of bridge, another great inversion that you wouldn't expect it really to be an inversion within your practice. Okay, so we're going to inhale, or you've got your feet planted firmly on the ground, the knees bent, and they're kind of hip distance apart. And then we're going to plant our hands either side of the body, have them kind of nicely tucked in against the body there. Fingertips spread nice and wide on the mat, and kind of pressing into your hand and your forearms and your feet, top of the shoulders, and a little bit at the top of the head. We're just going to flow in and out of our bridge pose. So inhale, press into your feet, your hands, all your grounded bits, and lift the hips up off the ground. And again, we haven't done a huge amount of back bends today, so don't really expect this to be your biggest bridge pose, but what we want is just that gentle inversion where we're bringing the blood flow back towards the head. And then we're going to exhale, bring the hips down towards the ground, and see, can you come down vertebrae by vertebrae, nice and slowly. We'll do that 2 more times. So inhale, lifts the hips off the ground, reach the knees away from you, reach the chest towards your chin. And then exhale to bring everything back down again. And inhale to come up again, reach the knees forward, chest towards the chin. And exhale to come back down again. Okay, so rolling over to your right hand side, gently come up to a seated position. And we'll just get ready for our first inversion pose. So what we're going to do is, I've kind of reformulated one of the restorative poses to make it more sturdy. So I think probably I've done this one before, where it's called Stonehenge, and you have the bolster on top of that. And it's lovely and you get a lovely inversion. But I always feel that sometimes, you know, depending on the size of people's bricks, it might not feel that sturdy. So you can do that one if you don't have loads of blankets. That is the way to get the legs up high. But if you've got a couple of blankets, what we're going to do is just stack all our props. Okay. So you're going to bring your bricks on their lowest height there. Okay. And then you're going to keep one of your blankets. Again, it just depends how many you have there. If you have 4 blankets, if you've 4 blankets, keep one of them spare. If you only have 3, pop them all on top of your bricks there. And then we're going to pop the bolster on top of that. Okay, so it's just the same kind of height, but it definitely feels a lot more sturdy. So what we're going to do with this blanket here, if you just have a look at me before you come into the pose yourself, you're going to bring your hips kind of, you're not going to be too close to the bolster, because I want my thighs at a bit of an angle there. I don't want to be in too tight. I want to have the kind of flesh of my calves on the bolster there. So what I'm doing with this blanket, which can be handy, again, I remind you always every week, what we're trying to do in our storage is switch off as much of the muscles as possible so that they can recuperate and we can work on the nervous system. So all I'm doing here is I'm actually making a kind of a wrap for my legs, and I have my legs hip distance apart. So don't, let them come straight out of their hip joint. And I've just wrapped the blanket underneath, and it's not for warmth, it's just so that they can't move. And when they kind of drop out the side, they're held and there's no muscle activity there. Okay, so just a reminder of where you're going. You have your 2 bricks here, you have your blanket stacked and your bolster on top. You're going to bring your hips there. If you want to come with me now for this one, you bring your hips about 2 or 3 inches away from your props there so that you have space. Bring your feet up, or your calves up onto your bolster. Then you're going to get your blanket, and just doesn't matter whether it's probably the narrower the better, so that you can actually just wedge one side under one calf, the other side under the other calf, so that they're nicely firm there. They're in line with their hip joint. They're not any closer than the joint there. And then you're going to gently come down. So bring yourself down, walk your hands down, come onto your forearms, and really slowly coming down towards the ground. I always find it can be nice to just tilt the pelvis forward and back when I come down to the ground. It kind of gives me a chance for my spine to settle in its optimal, most comfortable position. Okay, and just shimmy the legs there, make sure that they feel really secure there on the bolster, that there isn't a sense that they're falling forward or falling back, that they're really held by the support of the bolster, the blankets, and the bricks there. So really feeling a chance here for the legs to invert. So we did some strong standing poses. So now we're giving our legs a bit of a chance to reverse the blood flow. Arms can be just either side of the body, palms facing up or down, just depending. Up gives you a little bit of space, I think. The shoulders come down onto the mat a little bit, and also it's kind of cooling. And then arms facing down feels sometimes a little bit more grounding if you feel you need to come to the ground and feel the security of gravity on you. Okay, so definitely scan through your legs there and make sure that you have let go of any gripping. So let go of any held tension or held activity in the muscles there. And of course they were, working, they were, contracted as we went through our practice, but now we're kind of gently encouraging them to relax. But let's scan through the right leg and then we'll scan through the left leg. So bring your attention to the toes of your right foot there, the inner arch of your right foot, the heel of your right foot, the back of the right ankle, the back of the right calf, the back of the right knee, the back of the right thigh, and the back, the kind of inner back part of that hip joint there. So where the buttocks flesh is. And just with each of those points, check in with them and make sure that there isn't any little bits of holding there. And we'll travel back down. So the front of the right thigh, the front of the knee, the front of the shin, front of the ankle, front of the right foot, and all of the toes of the right foot. And we'll do the same thing on the second side. So the left leg, the left toes, the inner arch of the left foot, the heel of the left foot, the back of the ankle of the left foot, the flesh of the back of the calf of the left leg, back of the left knee, back of the left thigh, back of the left hip joint where the flesh of the buttocks lies. Front of the right thigh or left thigh, front of the left knee, the front of the shin, front of the ankle, front of the foot, and all of the toes of the left foot. And then check with both legs, both feet, both calves, both shins, both knees, both thighs, both hip bones. Okay, so we're going to gently come out of this pose now. So maybe just bringing your shoulders up a little bit until you can press into your forearms, lift your spine up a little bit. Maybe taking that blanket off from wrapped around your legs, pop that out to the side, and then maybe just bringing your legs off one by one. Again, moving nice and slowly through your restorative practice. Pop your bolster out to the side there now. And pop your blankets out to the side. So what we need next actually is one brick on its lowest height, so this height, and the bolster. So we're going to do more of a slightly more of an inversion where we're going to get the heart a little bit higher now. So we're going to actually have our hip on this brick here. So what might be nice is to pop a blanket on it so that it's not too hard against the back of your hips there. So the distance really is, you're going to probably just have to work that out as you come down. So I want the back of my hip to hit here, and then I want the flesh of my calf muscles to hit this here. Or actually, what might be nice is more the dip at the back of your ankle there to be supported on the furthest part of your bolster. With the flesh will probably be on it too, but just more the idea of that little dip of your ankle to be kind of supported by the back edge of your bolster there. Okay, so I need to bring my brick further back. So really you just need to judge it by the length of your body. So maybe the best way is just to come down and then lengthen your legs out on your bolster there. And that happens to be the right position. But yeah, so if you find you're in the wrong position, maybe just bring the feet down and reposition your brick. Lift the hips up, reposition, and then bring the hips down and lengthen the legs out. Okay, so not quite as much support as our last one, but here now we are lifting the heart a little bit. So we're more intensely inverting. Well, within a restorative setting, so everything is quite gentle. Okay, so nestle your shoulders there on the mat. Make sure they're in a comfortable position. And make sure that the back of your head is firmly planted on the ground. So just, check in with the position of your neck there. It might feel nice to roll the shoulders under just a little bit so that the neck kind of has a little bit of opening to the front there. And again, moving that bottom bolster there. If there's any part of the back of the flesh of your calf which feels sensitive, then just move your bolster up or down. Always checking through your practice in your restorative that there isn't anything shouting at you, that there isn't one part of the body that's kind of, looking for attention. Everything should be kind of a lovely, even opening feeling. So again, kind of like we did at the start of our restorative with our bridge poses, I like to kind of maybe just, now it's, of course, it's a little bit harder now in this position, but tilt the pelvis a little bit forward and back until you find a position where you haven't got too much of a curve of the neural spine. That's sometimes when I find when I bring my hips down to the ground, my lower back overarches a little bit. So if I tilt my pelvis forward and back, I find that more suitable position for my lower back. And that might mean that I'm reaching my hip bones back towards me a little bit rather than letting them tilt forward. If that makes sense. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it. You're not finding that problem with your low back. And just feel again, like we felt through our standing flows, that little bit of a change of the pressure to the upper body, or particularly into the brain there. And just as we're oxygenating all those little veins that are feeding our brain. Okay, we're going to gently come out of this one. So probably the best way to come out is to bend the knees, plant your feet firmly on the ground, lift your hips up just enough to slide your brick out from underneath your hips. Bring the hips down really slowly now, because it will almost feel like your hips are dropping below ground surface there because they've gotten used to being up higher. So come down nice and slowly there. Maybe even windscreen wipe the legs from side to side a little bit. And then rolling over to your right-hand side, we'll get ready for our next pose. Okay, so you're going to pop your bolster out to the side now, and we're just going to make a blanket stack. So get all your blankets and stack them up there. And maybe if you don't have as many blankets as I have, you might use your bricks underneath, but the blankets would be kind of a little bit more cozier. So we're going to just bring our hips onto it for the first part of it, and then we're going to slide them down the mat and bring the legs up onto it. So it might be a little bit hard to slide them down. Okay, so we're going to start with our hips up on our stack. So I just have all my blankets there, and I'm just going to lift my hips up and bring them onto the blanket stack. So you kind of want the back of your pelvis there supported, maybe have the front of your buttocks a little bit sliding off, so that when you flatten the pelvis onto the mat, that the whole unit of the pelvis is being supported. Okay, and then just bringing yourself gently down towards the ground. Keep those knees firmly bent, the feet flattened into the ground there now. And maybe you can play around a little bit with what distance the feet feels nice for your lower back there. So I noticed that if the usual position for constructive rest is the feet kind of mat distance and the knees docked in together. Try that, see does it work for you. For me, that brings a little bit of tension to my lower back there. When my hips are raised, my knees feel better when they're tracking with their hips there. So see what version suits your hips there. And again, just maybe bringing a little bit of movement to your spine there. Tilt the pelvis forward and back until you find something that doesn't overarch that lower back there, that the pelvis can tilt or kind of float down towards the ground a little bit. So notice a gentle pressure to the veins of your head there. You might even feel a sense of more blood flow to the skin of your face. So very nourishing to your skin. And remembering, as we talked about at the start of classes, this, the circulation, the blood flow, it's moving oxygen around the body, it's circulating nutrition. So think of your brain and the skin of your face receiving this oxygen and this nutrition that it's taken from the digestive system, and it's taking the waste away. So all parts of the body generate waste. Every single process or metabolism creates waste that needs to be removed from the body. So circulation is how it gets removed from the body. Okay, so plant your feet into the ground there, gently lift your hips up just enough until you can get your arms and slide those blankets down your mat there. Slide them all the way down until they are far enough that it's just the tops of your legs, or not the tops, the bottoms of your legs, just your calves that are on the blanket stack there. Just gently making our way back down to the ground. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths, and then we'll remove everything, and always finding the nice neutral pose of Shavasana at the end. And just take 2 more deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, coming into Shavasana, so gently just kicking the blanket stack off the side of your mat there. And maybe for your Shavasana, it might be nice to place a blanket on top of you there. And just doing what feels good for you again. Maybe a little tilt the pelvis, lengthening one leg away, lengthening the other leg away. Palms facing up towards the ceiling, a little bit of space between your body and your arms. Maybe just shimmying the shoulders, a little bit of a kind of cinching in of the shoulders there, so that your chest is nice and open, and you can breathe a deep breath in your Shavasana. And gently getting ready to come back into your day now. Maybe bring a little bit of movement into your fingertips and your toes. And when you're ready, gently rolling over to your right hand side. Maybe taking a breath here before you come up to a seated position. And then when you're ready, making your way into a comfortable seated position, hands in prayer position at your heart. Thumbs to your third eye, to your heart center. Namaste. And thank you for practicing with me.